Hi, Snipes here, back with the favorite least weekly series you've ever seen with a bit of discussion. Update 1.11, Operation Warlord, has dropped. The hotfixes have come, the patches are made, and with all said, done, and added to Insurgency, I'm here to share my thoughts on the newest update of a growing game. You're watching This Week in SANDSTORM. So now that the smoke is cleared and it's been out so long that even the console players finally got a taste, I'm here to share what's probably rather an unsurprising opinion with you all. I do not like it.
Can you believe that?
In earnesty, I was only vaguely thinking about this subject at all until I saw this great video made by Sacrilegious last week, and honestly, yeah, I'll talk about this, because ignoring this shit show for just 1 second and actually taking a look at the changelogs, understanding exactly what is different now versus before, there are some concerning problems that very best betray lazy development on the part of NWI, and at worst are telltale signs of some of the most blatant disregard of the fan base which follows the game to begin with. Also, be sure to watch Sacrilegious's video because he did it first and covers a lot of the more basic points far more thoroughly there.
Oh, did you just see that snipe?
Not bad, kid.
Now, people like to be very anal about what exactly I'm talking about when arguing in the comments section because, you know, video games are just so important. So I'm going to categorize every single thing I speak on, which is every major addition to the update, plus tons of patches and tweaks under what I think is good and what is not good, and I don't think it can get much simpler than that. What I think is good, I'm actually quite happy to report a good decent bit here. There's obviously a lot of welcome additions. The guns, I don't think I need to expand on this. I mean, watch the gun guides for exactly my take on each, but they added 2 new guns every update. It's to be expected. I hope they don't stop. What else is good?
Some good fucking food.
I like this guy. This cosmetic is cool and everyone has been asking for it. I'm glad we finally are getting flags for our characters. If I wanted to get really nitpicky, I wish we could make our own icons for patches like in Battlefield, which may be hard to add or something. I don't know, but it's probably worth it because players would eat that shit up, but I don't make video games. If we're going to get nitpicky, this flannel is pretty much over the boundary that we had between terrorists and security, as they now have a common clothing item that's rather obvious and there's been a lot of team killing.
They're the same picture.
That being said, it's something that fits the setting, and evidently that's just really hard to do now. Aside from that, it's great.
Good, got it, great, good.
The free cosmetics are also great. This is the shit that we are asking for. I don't think much of the security gear is particularly new, but it's always nice to see insurgents finally being able to equip plain black pants as well as ones that actually belong in the setting. I am also a very big fan of how they're achievement based to make it easy for new players and interesting for old ones. Overall, definitely worth playing around of ambush just for the cool jersey and mask alone. Gameplay changes. I am not going to cover all of these. Some are good, some are not. Virtually everything about NVGs got optimized and PvE players can rejoice now. They get actual categories, animations, and you can do more things while you're doing things. I am glad they're still optimizing the night mode over a year after its release in the face of a lot of criticism, especially after the honeymoon phase ended. Good job.
Good, got it, great, good.
Voice lines and voiceover have been very well optimized. Everyone hears the same line now, lines occur to depict more events now, and your character even makes sensical remarks when talking shit to the enemy.
Shut up, fucking idiot!
That is also great.
Good, got it, great, good.
Finally, I like map fixes. I also like bug fixes. I wish we had more of both instead of putting work into features that people aren't going to invest in, but I digress. Oh, by the way, the Molotov change is necessary, and if you disagree, you're a piece of shit. That is all that is good, or at least all that I like. And when you look at that and compare it to what was added, you know there is probably an issue. Now for the things that I don't like. Get ready, this is the rest of the video. Obviously this. I've been critical of this cosmetic. Other people have been critical of this cosmetic. NWI doesn't give a shit. If you're wondering why I'm not going to talk about it again, and you can watch the video. The only reason I bring it up now is because there have been 2 updates. Firstly, and most concerningly, was brought up by Daddy Sack, and personally speaking, it's sort of worrying, that being this clip from NWI's Day 1 Warlord stream. Mind you, this is the only official response to the large amounts of concerns voiced over the new aesthetic.
Of course it looks sick, but it doesn't fit the game. So that's, you know, that's something we see quite often. But games are always evolving and changing, right? And like 2 years ago, the Upriser DLC from 1.10 wouldn't have fit. You would have said it didn't fit either. But you know, it changes and evolves. So.
No. Now, not to shoot the messenger or anything, but like, what the f***, Hank? What does that mean? Coming from someone like me, that is just an argument, but from somebody in charge of speaking for a corporate entity, anyone who is capable of critical thinking is likely also concerned with the possible implications between the lines. Number 1, comparing the Upriser DLC to this is like saying Crazy Stupid Love isn't so different from Drive because they both have Ryan Gosling in it. No, they're not. The Upriser DLC's concept art was speculated about, but as it turns out, it was just that. The art style of the advertisements of Insurgency have changed slightly and look somewhat cartoonish, but translating to in-game, it really doesn't look functionally different from virtually anything else the insurgents have. Hoodie, mask, shoes, eyewear, and a cheap t-shirt. Tactical/ballistic helmet at very best, only available to first world countries or police units, also a work of fiction mounted to a helmet previously exclusive to the security faction. No. Secondly, and more concerning, games evolving, like Call of Duty decided to evolve into a historical shooter with creative license title, or Battlefield decided to evolve into a hero shooter.
Well, that was fun.
How did those end, Hank? Like, even I had fun playing 2042, but I'll be the first to tell you their first mistake was changing their formula. Meanwhile, the only successful mainstream title launch of last year was one that decidedly stuck to what it was good at to begin with.
Coincidence? I think not!
I wonder if the gaming market tends to trend toward people favoring titles that actually stay true to what the people bought them for in the first place. I wonder whether large teams and publishers are immune to the consequences of the decisions via the consumers voting with their wallets. Could it be that a game with 3K concurrent players on any given day has this ability to be making choices that are actively pissing off the players who make up the small pocket of the market they've cornered off for themselves? Probably not, but hey, I don't do stonks, so I'll just make my second point regarding cosmetics and news. The other news: 2 new cosmetic uniform sets as well as 2 whole weapon skins have been added for the PC audience, however not for console because they're actually the Warlord and Peacemaker sets plus the gold weapon skins formerly exclusive because of the console release. This coming suspiciously close to exactly nobody wanting to purchase the new Gray Man bullshit, and really there's 2 ways you can look at this. On one hand, and completely fair, NWI's own little apology and being generous enough to add another 2 whole uniforms to the game as a substitute for the other one that they botched. Or their attempt to recuperate lost revenue from lack of purchases on their newly developed sets by selling away the only feature that was exclusive to the console people. Aside from the shitty performance. And seeing as people like me who bought the 2-year pass for all of the future content didn't receive these cosmetics and are forced to purchase them on top of the shit we didn't ask for, I'll let you form your own opinions. But of course you can probably gauge mine by the fact that I didn't mention this in the good section. I am now going to stop talking about cosmetics. The next thing I have a problem with is ambush. Yes, ambush. I don't like it. On paper, it sounds cool. We asked for a VIP mode for as long as I can remember, and my take on it was always, looks cool. But in practice, it sucks. Now there's a lot of reasons for this, and really it deserves its own videos, and that might as well mean a mode guide series at some point. But more or less the short of it now is, there's too many people on each team, especially the defenders, and this makes any attempt to extract a single individual very futile. Entire games can go by without this happening. Coordination is terrible when there's multiple points, and regardless of the entire team agreeing on which to go, the VIP is always going to be a dumbass and run off. Or else call out their destination at the start and then get plastered just before the cap because the 2 people who decided to listen weren't enough when the rest of the team is beating off in the most obscure corner of the map. However, the real issues are some of the more concerning features which seem to have been added for testing in this mode and really gets to the larger point of the shadow development, i.e. when a game receives changes that aren't publicized or even mentioned outside of the bottom of a changelog and noticeable when you play the actual game, but noticeable they are. You probably know if you played it that unlike the other modes, you can now speak to your team while dead in ambush, and arguably that's alright, but did you know that you also can't hear transmissions from enemies within proximity? Why is that? I mean, there's a lot of rather arcadey additions to this update, and that's a rather larger point here. Anyone can tell you that half the fun of the game is in the random comms interactions and the other team to begin with. It's a feature. Shit, it's one that made Tarkov a whole lot better when they finally added it just now, and you never saw people making friends with randos beforehand. So between that and the polar opposite of not being able to chat to the other team in 2042, which is it you'd rather lean towards? Or how about the new friendly icons being thick as hell, bright and flashing in proximity as well as tracking to the sides of the screen now when not in line of sight, much like an objective would? Like, call me a simple cretin, but generally speaking, much like Sacrilegious, once again I don't really feel the burning desire to have my HUD polluted with more data than the average weapon damage spreadsheet. Like, all you need to do was make the icons actually show up at ranges where I accidentally shoot my teammates, or else stop lagging behind players by several yards, or even find a way to fix that thing where a friendly icon is displayed behind an enemy who happens to be in front of someone who's well over 50 yards away. Any of those things, but instead, up close where it does work, it's just more obnoxious and grating now. And I fully admit that you can argue any of that, but finally and easily the most damning point of this video would be the shadow removal of several features across the board. You may have noticed the new overly expensive point shooting grip, which can toggle to a point laser aiming stance in PvE. Not only did lasers not show up like that in real life to the naked eye, but it also replaced the actual feature to equip point shooting as a feature to an actual gun during night ops, where it actually worked very well like that, but with more attachments, namely just having another grip that does something aside from making it so that you can do a thing that you could already do to begin with. So co-op players can stop rejoicing now. Even more insulting is improvements made to the development process of anti-vehicle mines. You may remember that much like any other grenades, there used to be a way to actually throw them, either overhanded and far or underhanded and much more akin to placing them, but no more. So guys, there was this huge problem where an animation issue could occur when you threw the mine. So to fix this catastrophic failure that was rather limiting to the gameplay, they removed the ability to throw the mine.
Oh my God! What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Okay, a simple wrong would have done just fine.
Like, are you serious? What kind of Bungie-ass development choice is this? You removed a feature to fix an animation bug. Like, it didn't break the game. There is no exploit or hack or duplication glitch or anything so monumental listed to even remotely justify straight up removing a feature. Not to mention the fact that the underhand throw or place or whatever is actually not present either. The only way now to use a mine is to spam one of the click buttons until God help you decides to pull the pin, and then you have to look around to the ground, and then your character places it without any animation at all, like it's fucking Minecraft. So if you watched this video to this point and you refuse to attribute these decisions to at the very least laziness, I'm sorry, but you're just wrong. There is no way somebody is so stupid as to straight up remove a feature in favor for something so much more clunky, rigid, and shoddily designed. Hell, the mention of them doing so is so buried in the changelogs on Steam that I had to Control F to even find the thing. And there's nothing in terms of indication of whether these are temporary changes and fixes or here to stay. So if you take away nothing else from this video, let it be more to the point of what this one is saying to begin with. This sucks, so does this, but the real issue is when little by little you have more and more of the identity changed until the game you own no longer resembles the game that you bought. Whether or not NWI listens or at the very least responds and explains has a lot to do with how much is being said. I would encourage anyone who wants answers to go onto the Reddit, where I know they get the lion's share of their feedback from, make a post or tweet at NWI or tweet at Hank and be civil when asking what are the plans for the new cosmetics. What do you mean by evolving the game? When are we getting the fan cosmetics that we the community actually voted on, or the fan create a map that is very much the same? Why are features like the point shooting and mine placement being actively removed without consulting or really informing the people who play? Because the biggest problem with SANDSTORM is with all the speculation critiquing you see on the part of me and other creators, it would be a lot easier if we could just straight up see answers from the people in charge of their community. Oh, and go subscribe to Sacrilegious. Also, go watch Drive. Anyway, I'm going to hear all about what you guys think in the comments, but until next time, I'm Snipes, and this has been your week in SANDSTORM. I'll see you all out there.
I'll crack